Good morning, guys. Mark Angelo here. I wanted to share some of my thoughts. I've been meditating lately, twice a day, in the morning when I first wake up and before I go to bed. And meditation, I find, really allows you to understand your thoughts. Although when you're meditating, you're not supposed to be thinking, but it allows you to really go deep within and assess your life, your questions, the journey and path that you have taken, connecting your human self with your higher self, and understanding, or at least trying to understand, the purpose and the reasons that we are here. My life has had many detours and many different curves and adventures, if we could call them that. And sometimes I appear to be all over the place with things because I, I have a pretty overactive mind, as most of us do. My introspection went into the reasons I detransitions and the things that I have said in the past. And reflecting on that allowed me to understand why I did what I did. And possibly you might relate with this if you've detransitioned and retransitioned and have maybe even questioned what you have done. And I believe that we take on a lot of energies, thought process from individuals around us, from things that happen to us as children. We get exposed to a lot of different things while growing up, and a lot of messages are placed in our minds by our parents, our siblings, our friends, our neighbors, and so forth and so on. So we gather these little bits of information and experiences, and sometimes our life reflects that. So I started to think, um, why I detransitioned, and why did I go into the mind frame of the conservative route for a little bit. And having been raised as a Jehovah Witness, I was programmed to believe that being gay was sinful, and that I was born a woman and I had to act like a woman and do womanly things and please this God of the Bible and so forth and so on. And I know that many of us have been raised, whether it's Pentecostal or evangelical or Jehovah Witness or Catholics or whatever it is that we were programmed to believe. We set the course of our life, or tried to follow those initial programming. And we battle, with that, because we want to be good little boys and girls. We want to be good humans, and we put a definition of what a good human is or what a good human does. And we battle with our own knowing, because we all have a knowing. See, what you're reading in the Bible is not your knowing. That's somebody else's production. There's somebody else's written word. It's not coming from God. If you knew the first thing about source, you know that source doesn't write anything down. That's a human thing. You know, just look around you. How many authors are there? You know, it's a human thing to write down our thoughts on paper, and we believe that for some odd reason that it's some sort of message that God is giving to us to write down for others. When God has a message, source, the great I am, the universe, spirit, mother, father, whatever you want to call that creative force, it doesn't need to have you write it down, because that message is for you and for you only. It's not for you to share with the world. It's not for you to tell everybody else how to live their life. We all have our own encoded messages, and it comes directly into our hearts, not to be written or shared. So that's the first clue to let you know that the Bible is this historical evidence of things that happened in the past and has been tainted and retranslated, and certain books were thrown out and certain books were allowed in. So you know it cannot be fully trusted. It's a great read if you want to read and learn the history of certain things and become entertained. But it's not, and I will repeat, it is not the answers for all of you. You know, it's not. It's not meant as a guide, as most Christians and most other religious zealots believe it is. So anyway, I digress. I was thinking, regarding my transition when I did it, and during the time that I detransitioned, I said many things, placed a lot of people under a bus, and for that I am enormously sorry for. I should have never done that, because I don't speak for anyone but myself, and how dare I condemn during the time that I was this crazy lunatic Christian woman. How dare I do that? I mean, that was the most ignorant thing that I've ever done in my 58 years. I don't know what your life path is and what your journey is. I'm barely trying to figure out my own. But in saying that, during that time, I said many things like that I regretted, and things that I missed about being a woman and all this. And that is the biggest BS ever, because when I transitioned, when I finally got to live the way that I wanted to live, look in the mirror and liked what I saw, the first time that I was ever to make peace with myself was during my transition. And I would do it all over again. In fact, I did. For the many times that I detransitioned, I retransitioned, and I went and changed my paperwork back and did all the things, because this right here, this old man that you're seeing right before your very eyes, it's getting a lot of gray hairs and, almost turning 59, is who I relate to. This is me. The other was somebody that was constantly numbing themselves, either with drugs or alcohol, hated her life because of all the things that she went through. And so this right here, this is me. This is who I should have been born as. And I know many of you go with the biology thing, and that, you can't change your biology and blah, blah, blah. But, you're very wrong, because we do change a lot of aspects of our biology. When you're adding chemicals to your body that will alter the state of your body and create the changes that hormones do, you are changing your biology. It's not a thought process. You're not thinking about it. You're doing it, and the body is responding to the things that you do to it. It's just like taking a car and adding a different motor and adding different parts to the car. Yeah, the car might have started off as a Ford, but if you're putting a different types of, like a Dodge engine into a Ford car and change the exterior and interior, then that no longer is a Ford car. You've made it into a different brand of car. And that's what we do. Yeah, we know our initial biology, duh. It wouldn't be transitioning had we not transitioned from one sex to another. So you say, well, your chromosomes and your DNA, well, that's great and dandy. But do you realize that your cells are constantly changing? As you alter your environment, your inner environment gets altered as well. But besides that, I'm not here to argue about biology or non-biology. We do what we do because we want to do it. We have the right. This is our autonomy. This is our life. This is our body. You claim that you're worried about the children. The children have parents. It is none of your business to get into their business. It's none of your business to try to change laws that affect people's life because you don't like it. And you know you don't care about the kids. You just can't stand anything that has to do with LGBT. Most of you. And most of you that are gender critical can't stand the fact that somebody who was born a woman can alter themselves and become who you hate the most, which is the opposite sex. So you have to deal with your own inner issues, your anger, your frustrations, your fears, your guilt, whatever it is that you're dealing with. Deal with that and leave transsexuals alone. It's time for human beings to learn to coexist. I may like doing things certain ways. You may like doing things another way. The planet is big enough for both of us to be able to do so. We each have our journey and challenges to deal with and walk through. A path that we all choose is our path. You may not like it, but it's not for you to like or dislike. You're just observing it. You agree with it, you don't agree with it, fine. But when you try to mess with people's life, then you got a problem. So, I would do this all over again. I love who I've become. When I look in the mirror, I find peace. I don't believe in the God of the Bible. I believe in the source energy that we are all part of. We came down here as fragments of source energy to gather information, to live through experiences, to know thyself, to really reflect inwardly and alter the things around us because we are creators. So transsexuals are massive creators. I want to say to my brothers and sisters that have actually undergone surgery, that have actually undergone hormonal therapy, that have actually changed their life to find peace, bravo. You are a creator God. You are wonderfully and beautifully made. Or should I say remade, because we took it upon ourselves to alter our life so that we could be happy with a reflection in the mirror. So we could be happy walking this path with these bodies as we wish to. There's nothing more wonderful than taking life into your own hands and doing the things that you want to do to find peace, to find joy, and to be happy. So for all of you out there, detransitioners, conservatives, Christians, that are doing what you're doing to interfere in the life of others, I say shame on you. Shame on your rotten life. A life that is probably void and needs to interfere with the happiness of others. You're not helping anyone. On the contrary, you're only creating more problems for yourself and for others. Learn to coexist with what you don't understand, with what you don't like, because that is why you're here. To learn to coexist. To learn to love unconditionally. Something you don't know how to do. Anyway, guys, I love you. I hope you have a great day. Reflect, think, meditate. The source of all loves you no matter what. There is no such thing as sin. Just life. Life, living, and loving. Take care. Bye-bye.